You know, it's been said the holiday season is the most wonderful time of the year. I would argue that this is, in fact, the most wonderful time of the year, but it's because the playoffs and the draft are all coming into focus as you see the current top 10 order of the 2022 NFL Draft. You got the Detroit Lions up there at the top, and also looking at the Carolina Panthers back in there in the top 10 where they took J.C. Horn a year ago. That after a terrific 3-0 start has fizzled for Carolina. What's going on, everybody? Rhett Lewis and our lead draft analyst, Daniel Jeremiah, back here with you as we kind of assess all these things. Some teams getting ready for the playoffs, some teams continuing to getting ready for the draft. Panthers making a big move this week, firing offensive coordinator Joe Brady after just 28 games leading that offense in Carolina for head coach Matt Rule. What went wrong there in Carolina?
Well, I think it was a combination of things, Red. I think you can look at it and say, okay, maybe the personnel wasn't great when you factor in the Christian McCaffrey injuries and what they had to play with there. You can say, okay, Sam Darnold and Cam Newton had not played well, it turned the football over. But I don't know that Joe Brady was the right fit with Matt Rule either in terms of maybe being a little more committed to the run game. I think Matt Rule would have preferred that. To me, I think it's kind of a combination of those factors. But to be honest, I don't know of any coordinator you put in that situation with quarterbacks who are turnover prone that you're going to have a lot of success, particularly when Christian McCaffrey's not on the field.
Well, and that was the question. It felt like a lot of the criticism was directed towards the quarterbacks this year for Carolina. And then with Matt Rule making this move to fire Joe Brady, it makes you wonder, was scheme part of the issue as well? And how does that kind of mesh moving forward in the future for the Carolina Panthers? One thing is for certain, missing Christian McCaffrey for much of these last two seasons, big blow to what Joe Brady was trying to do on offense, with CMC undoubtedly a focal point. And he was a focal point of a loaded 2017 draft class at running back. I mean, he was the second running back taken behind Leonard Fournette, who went 4th overall, now doing great things with the Tampa Bay Bucs. I mean, look at the names on here. We're talking about
impressive.
Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones has been one of the best, even though he's been a bit banged up this year. James Conner with new life with the Arizona Cardinals. But who's been the best of this bunch here for you, DJ?
Well, for me, I would say the best in terms of who I'm buying right now and going forward. I'm going to go with the guy I just saw in Joe Mixon. Seeing him live, you see how big and strong and powerful he is. He gives you a little something different. Now, James Conner can give you some of that, but Joe Mixon just has so much more juice. He's outstanding in the passing game, can help you out of the backfield. He's not bad in pass protection. To me, kind of the smaller guys, although they're fantastic on contract number 1, I worry about those teams getting the value on contract number 2. Joe Mixon, I think that contract will end up looking really, really smart for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, he's, proven how explosive he can be with the addition of explosive pieces on the perimeter, like with Jamar Chase blocking for him down at the end, like you saw in that one of those runs there. You also saw this week, and you've seen all season long as one of the radio voices for the Chargers broadcast, Rashawn Slater, could be in the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. That's how good he's been. What have you loved about him?
I love the consistency, and I think that when you watch him and when you look at the video of him, I can show you exactly what I'm talking about, because this is some guy that's the same guy each and every play, he's the same guy each and every game, and he can do it in the run game and the pass game. Here he is against the Philadelphia Eagles. Watch him be able to reach and seal this run here. This is to kind of finish this game. Look at the lane that ends up giving Austin Eckler. That's kind of like the walk-off run for their ability to kind of kill the clock and finish with a win. Here he is working against Jason Oweh. This is good on good, two of the best young rookies in the NFL. And watch him left on an island. They don't have to give him any help. They can slide the protection in the other way. Give him a two-way go, really a three-way go there for Oweh, and he just locks him down, giving Herbert that thick pocket to be able to operate out of. Man, when you're a quarterback, you don't have bodies being bumped back into you. It makes your life so much easier. And when you can dedicate help to your right tackle because you don't even have to worry about your left tackle. As a rookie, that's
pretty darn good.
That's rare.
And Rashawn Slater, one of 4 tackles drafted in the first round this past year. What kind of class are we looking at here in the 2022 draft?
Well, I don't think that the high end is as good as we've seen the last couple years. I think it's got there's good depth to it. I think Evan Neal from Alabama is a name that a lot of people are interested in. Some people actually like him inside at guard, but he's a solid player. I wouldn't stack him up with the top guys from last year's class. And then Penning from Northern Iowa. Kurt Warner, hat tip to Kurt Warner there, Northern Iowa, another really good player from that school. They had Spencer Brown last year, was a good player. He's a better version.
3rd round pick of the Buffalo Bills has started 4 games as Spencer Brown. Like the fighting Kurt Warner's pipeline at tackle right now. That's awesome to see. Let's also look at what we're going to see in the college football playoff here coming up in a couple of weeks. It's Cincinnati and Alabama, first G5 team ever into the CFP. And I'm telling you right now, anybody who doubts Cincinnati's worthiness, watch some of the players that we're going to be talking about in the spring. A lot of them that we're going to see drafted in April are going to come from that Cincinnati program in a really intriguing physical matchup with Georgia and that defense, Michigan, and that run game here. And, Georgia, I mean, that defense features one of the best defensive linemen in this entire class, which, of course, is Jordan Davis. How does he strike you?
You know, I get a chance to see big Linval Joseph with the Chargers, and when he's healthy and out on the field, even though he's a little bit older, you still see a big-time impact player. I think I see a better version of Linval Joseph. Someone you cannot move at the line of scrimmage, and then somebody who can really push the pocket against the pass. There's a lot of value. Think about how many teams are playing in light boxes right now, Rhett, right? You want to be able to dedicate more bodies to coverage, take away big plays. This big fella allows you to do that. So some teams are just philosophically opposed to not taking an elite rusher in the top 10. He's not an elite rusher. But there's other teams that see the value of what he does on first and second down that allow you the pass rush opportunities once you get to third down.
Yeah, I think when we, in the NFL now, when we think of interior disruptors and interior defensive linemen, we think Chris Jones with the Kansas City Chiefs, we think Aaron Donald with the LA Rams. This is not those guys. But there's still value in that at the top of this draft?
Yeah, I mean, look, I see it because I think even as somebody who might not be getting home to the quarterback, he's going to be able to collapse the pocket. So if you can surround him with some edge rushers, there's nowhere for that quarterback to go. And how many times you hear a quarterback's worst nightmare is that interior pressure? It might not show up in the sack column, but, man, it shows up in the impact column.
You mentioned Linval Joseph with the Chargers. Is there another team that kind of features this kind of personality from an interior defensive lineman that might make sense for a guy like that?
Well, I mean, I look at the Chargers, as one that we just mentioned. I think with the Minnesota Vikings or another
where
team.
Linval came
where
from?
He came from, where they would appreciate something like that. And I also think the Eagles, who have transitioned here under a new defensive coordinator, trying to get a little more size to go in there. You got Javon Hargrave, who's played at a very high level. I don't know how much longer Fletcher Cox is going to do it. There was talk of him maybe getting traded at the deadline last year. Maybe that could happen. This would help them really be able to occupy bodies. That's what Jordan Davis is going to be able to do.
The intrigue just getting started as the draft starts to come into focus. DJ, thanks, brother.